Hi everyone, we're here to do two different blooms. I have 5 ounces of craft resin. It's a 1-to-1 low viscosity resin warming up, and we are currently at 30 degrees Celsius, so we're at a good temperature to start. I'm going to put about 1 ounce in my cup for my white, and then I'm going to pour the rest in the molds. And you'll notice that I did already do the edge of the molds. This one has mica powder and then white on top, and this is just mica powder. Both are like shades of red. Now remember, you don't want to put too much down to begin with, because if you put too much, your bloom may drop and you may get blobbies, and we always want to avoid the dreaded blobbies when we can. And what are the dreaded blobbies? They're just big spots of white. I think that's good. All right, so let's mix up our white. I am using Cast and Craft Opaque Pigment Concentrate, and it's usually about 6 drops per ounce. It really depends on the resin and your white, how much to put in. I find different resins require different amounts of white, so you really have to look at it too. So I'm going to go with 6 drops to start, and this does take a little bit to come out of the bottle. The drops are pretty slow. I'm just working on my second drop now. All right, see, it does take a good bit to get out. And I'm gonna mix it up and take a look at it and see what it looks like. I like to start at about 30 degrees Celsius because it warms up as I go. I don't move too fast. So if it warms up, it's okay. And that looks pretty good. You don't want a bright white. It should be opaque. So there, our white is ready. Today I'm using Octopus Fluids alcohol inks. I have Brownie and Bloody Mary. Don't let the name fool you, it's a very pretty red. In the larger tray, I'm going to do 3 blooms. So I'm going to use this Brownie as my center. And in this one tray, I'm only going to do 1 bloom. I'm going to put 2 drops in the center there. All right, now for the Bloody Mary. I'm just going to add some drops around my little circles. And then this one, just going to drop them around like this. And while they're spreading, I'm going to go ahead and put my white in a piping bag. I prefer to use the piping bag. I feel I have more control. But if you want to, you can pour from the cup using a spout. All right, got our white ready. Just pulled it out of the cup. I'm gonna twist it so it's closed and doesn't come back in my hand. I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut a very small tip off the top. All right. For this one where I have my 3, I am gonna do sort of a drawn bloom. You could do it with the stick. I may not have cut enough off that one. Let's give this another little cut. All right. So you can draw with a stick or you can draw with your piping bag. If you do it too thin, it's going to be wispy. If you do it too thick, you're going to get blobbies. It's really just finding a good middle ground. I do notice I have less over on this side, so I'm going to do another little bloom there, a little lip petal. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do with that one. In this one, I'm going to do my traditional spiral. It's getting a little thick, so it doesn't really want to come out of the bag. That's okay. I'm doing them kind of far apart because I'm going to go in and add some little spirals, some just thinner lines. Oops, I got a blobby there. I'll show you how to fix that too. And that just adds more petals. The thinner ones get the less defined lines. The thicker ones have a more defined line. I'm just filling in some spots. All right, I'm done with that. Now, if you do get some spots where you dropped a little more down than you wanted to, just take and pull it a little. Now, no, anytime you play around with the white like that, it does tend to get a little cloudy. So you don't want to play around with your white too much. In these here, I'm not going to draw anything, but in my spiral, I am going to draw. And I think I'm going to do all ends. So it's a little blobby right there. I'm not going to swirl because I am going to put a center in. And from the next ends, I'm not going to go in all the way. If you want to go in all the way, go in all the way. I do try to go into the center less because remember how I mentioned it gets a little blurry? Well, the more you're in playing with your center or doing anything in the center, even drawing your lines into the center, it'll get blurrier. So I do try to do that less. All right. So now I have from Laura's Art Corner red crushed glass bits. And I'm just going to take a very little bit of them and add them to my centers. Now I'm going to stand up just a little bit so I can see if my centers are centered. They look okay to me. Doesn't look like I have any bubbles, but I could hit it with my little torch if I did. Try not to use an air gun. It may push your design around, or a heat gun. And because I used alcohol inks, I wouldn't use an alcohol spray on this. All right. I may back them on my own because I don't know that I'm going to do anything special, but if I do something special, we'll come back and do it together. All right. I backed them with resin dye paste in this white gold from Laura's Art Corner. Maybe 2 golds compared to the colors, but we'll see how it came out. Oh, that actually looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And then the one bloom. Oh yeah, that came out nice, didn't it? Very pretty, very pretty. I love them both.